Guys, what's up? So I wanted to come do a little video for you, share some wisdom on how hard times don't have to hurt. Okay, I'm gonna get this camera set up, and the whole thing with this video is about why hard times don't have to hurt. You don't have to feel pain, you don't have to struggle, you don't have to feel like quitting, you don't have to feel like you're failing, you don't have to feel unfulfilled, unhappy, unloved. You don't have to feel any of that shit when you're going through hard times, okay? You don't. And a hard time is when results aren't going your way, right? Like when the results in your life suck, when your environment sucks, when your money sucks, when your relationship sucks, when it seems like no matter what you're doing, you just can't seem to get better results in your life, okay? During that time, your life, during that hard time, it doesn't have to hurt you. It doesn't have to hurt, all right? So that's what I'm gonna talk about in this video, because I'll be honest with you guys, I'm going through some shit in my life right now that is very, very hard. And I've had days where I was extremely happy. I've had days where I was hurting. And you can absolutely go through hard times and be happy. So if you're new to the channel, I'm Jeremiah Sullivan, and I grew up in a town of like 300 people, population of 300. I was a guy that used to pass his classes because he did his homework, not because he studied the test, not because he was super smart, but because he did his homework and he turned it in. I was a college dropout. I joined the military, making like $1,200 or $1,300 a month, and I mean, you know, changed my life. I started working on myself, my mindset. Served in the elite unit, the 75th Ranger Regiment. Became an infantry commander, ran 100 miles, got out, and now I'm a mindset coach, life coach, fitness coach. I'm in a whole fucking type, all different types of coaching, okay? But I just help people get what they want. And if you guys have watched previous videos, I shaved the beard. Okay, so many years ago, I was in one of the hardest spots in my life, right? And I remember there was this time where I felt very, very alone. I had nobody around. I mean, I was even in a relationship at the time, and I felt alone. And every day I woke up, I hated my life, okay? I didn't like the way that I was living. I didn't like the apartment that I was living in. I didn't like the job that I had. I didn't like the people that I was around. I didn't like the money that I was making. I didn't like anything about my life, to be completely honest. And it was hard. I didn't like any of the results that I had in my life. I was coming off of a season where I had accomplished some big things, but then life came crumbling down on top of me. And I was in this state for a few years. It was one of the hardest seasons of my life. But the point is that during that hard time, tell me if you guys if you feel like any of the things that I mentioned, you feel alone, dude. Like, you know how shitty it is to be in a room full of motherfuckers and you feel alone? That sucks, you know? And the thing is I didn't have anybody to turn to at that time that I knew of that could help me through it all. And I focused a lot on the things that I couldn't necessarily control, but I tried to control to fix them, okay? So in other words, I was unhappy. And tell me if you guys are trying to do this in your life. And to be happy, you tried to get different results in your life, okay? I tried to make more money. I tried to put myself around, or I tried to achieve different things to make myself happy. And it was like, no matter what, I still felt miserable. And I even would go out and go hang out with some people that were considered friends at the time. And I'd go hang out with them, and their lifestyle and mine didn't really match up. They would drink, and I was trying not to. And I was trying to break that habit. And before I actually completely broke it, I would be out drinking and partying and kind of escaping my problems that way. So the only time I really found happiness was when I was escaping. Like, I would eat a lot, that would make me laugh and make me happy. I would drink, and that would make me happy. But the problem is that happiness was very temporary. And I really wasn't happy. I was escaping and disconnecting. And once I stopped the drink, and I wasn't drinking, or I wasn't eating, and I wasn't escaping, I was just with myself, I felt like shit. I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't figure out why I felt like shit. But over the years, what ended up happening is I started working on my habits. I started working on things little tiny things that I could control that made me feel good. So I started working on my wake up time, right? I started working on journaling every single day. I started reading. I started doing all these little tasks that made me feel better. And on the days that I felt my best, the hard time didn't go away. I was still living in a shitty apartment. I still was having financial problems. I was still having marital problems. My results still sucked, but I was happy. And the reason I was happy is because I was focused heavily on what I could control, and I focused on building positive habits. So if you're going through something right now, let me think, like, if you feel unmotivated, unfulfilled, it's not necessarily because of the results that you're not getting in your life. If you trace back your unhappiness, there's a time in your day, in the last 24 to 48 hours, where you stopped listening to yourself. You broke a promise. You gave up on a commitment. You opted out of some work, some important thing that was important to you, some commitment. Cognitive dissonance is when you know that you should do something, when you have a belief that you should do it, but then you don't do it. Human beings know that we should be healthy. Human beings know that we should work out, we should train, we should wake up at a respectable time. We know these things, but we believe them, but we don't do them. And when you don't do them and you skip them, you feel like shit. So in order for me to actually make this switch, okay, when I was alone, I had nobody to turn to, I had no friends, I was dealing with fucking PTSD problems, I was having night terrors, it was miserable. And the way that I started feeling happy was I started doing things that I respected. I put down the drink. I started waking up at a disciplined motherfucking time, not 5 days a week when work made me do it, but 7 days a week, Saturday and Sunday. When I stopped waking up late on Saturday and Sunday, nobody was in charge of me nobody was like, not charging me, but I didn't have a place to report to on Saturday and Sunday during this time period. And when I stopped just being lazy as fuck and impulsive on the weekends, my weekends, I started feeling happier. When I was more disciplined, I started feeling more happier. So you see, the thing is a lot of times your misery will come from putting a lot of emphasis on the sphere of concern and the sphere of influence, but not the sphere of control. There's 3 spheres in your life that you can focus on. The sphere of control, everything that's within your control every single day. The sphere of influence, the things that are around you that you can create a ripple effect around, like maybe taking your kids to school. And the sphere of concern, the things that you can't control. Like, I can't control this fucking ocean. If I try to go out there and punch it, it's not going to stop the waves from coming in. People in their life, when you are your most unhappy and most miserable, you focus heavily on the sphere of concern and the sphere of influence, and not enough on the sphere of control. When I turned my happiness around during the hard time, during that 2, almost 3-year time period that I'm sharing with you guys, the days where I focused on what I could control every single day, my workout, my wake up, my reading and reflection, my sobriety, my task list, these simple daily disciplines, when I executed those perfectly, the hard time still was there, but I was happy. So I'm going through something in my life right now, and it reminds me a lot of that 2 to 3 year time period where I was sucking before, where I was hurting, man, where I was that lone leader that nobody was around me. I felt like I could get help from, but the reality, the problem was I was looking for help in all the wrong places. I just needed to help myself. So bringing this together as we close it up, guys, regardless of what I've learned over the years through coaching high performers, coaching high achievers, coaching myself over the years, dealing with PTSD, trauma, dealing with fucking, all types of life's battles, that when you go through a hard season, okay, if you search for happiness in superficial places where you're going to escape, if you're going to places to escape from your pain, you're gonna find horror, you're gonna find unhappiness, you're not gonna find fulfillment, you're not gonna be fulfilled, you're not gonna feel good, you're gonna look for happiness in all the places that you're actually destroying it. Cognitive dissonance, when you do something that you know you shouldn't do, wake up late, fucking skip your shit, do all the daily disciplines that don't make you feel good. When you skip all those things, you're gonna be miserable. But then when you control the things that you can control, you can go through those hard times and be happy. So this week, man, as I'm going through this season that I'm in, that's what I'm focused on. Controlling what I can control, which is my daily discipline every single day. I can control what I do with my body, what I do with my mouth, and I can control myself, right? I can control my mindset, my thinking. But the moment I deviate from any of those things, I go into my impulses, I opt out of the work, I don't choose the path of purpose, I choose the path of selfishness. Those are the moments where I'm going to create negative karma inside of me, and you are going to feel it into the future. You're going to carry that negative action into the future. So as we close this up, guys, like I said, if you want to go through hard times and be happy, focus 100% on what you can control. Attack the daily discipline tasks that make you feel best. And through that, overcoming that adversity, through overcoming those tasks, you will find and be happy you'll find happiness and be proud of yourself. If you don't respect the things you're doing, you're not going to respect yourself. So do the things you respect doing so you can respect yourself. Love you guys. Drop a comment down below. We'll see you guys in the next video. Conquer all.